In this video, we will go through all of the steps that you need to get started in StatCrunch. So when you first log into StatCrunch, you should see a screen like this. In order to open up StatCrunch, you'll click this gold button that says Open StatCrunch. Now sometimes you'll be typing in your own data, but a lot of the times for our labs and projects, you will have a data set that you will need to upload into StatCrunch. In order to do that, you'll navigate to Data, Load, From File on my computer. Typically, I would have provided you with some sort of data set within Canvas that you can download to your computer, making a note of where you downloaded it. So you'll see here on this screen that you have the option to choose a different data source, but most of the time this will come from your computer where you've downloaded. So I'm going to click Browse and I'm going to navigate to where I've saved it. For most of you, you would have saved it to Downloads, and you'll have to scroll down until you find the file. And it's called College Worth It. There it is. And you'll click Open. And the only thing that you need to check is that this first line as column line. Click Upload. And your data set will show up. Next, I'd like us to go through collecting some summary statistics, which we'll be doing throughout this course. So a lot of the things that we'll be doing in this course are under Stat and Graph. So we'll start today with summary statistics. You navigate to Stat, Summary Stats, and for most of the time your data is organized in columns, and so we will click Columns. Now for summary statistics, you can only do this on numerical data, and here age is the only numerical variable that we have. There are several statistics that StatCrunch can calculate, and for this one, it's okay just to go with whatever is defaulting, because as we learn more about these different summary statistics, you'll know what they mean. But for right now, I just want to make sure that you know where to navigate within StatCrunch. So click Compute, and you'll see a table with lots of different summary statistics. N tells you the sample size, mean, that's the average, variance and standard deviation will be something that we learn soon. And then the median, range, minimum, max, Q1 and Q3 is also something that we'll be looking at in the next few chapters. I do want you to practice copying and pasting this, and so when you click Options, Copy, you'll have a window that will open and tell you how you are supposed to copy tables from StatCrunch. So here it'll tell you for your particular operating system. Since I'm using a Mac, it's giving me the Mac commands. If you're using a PC, you'll have the PC commands here, but it'll tell you exactly what to do to copy it. And then you can go to your lab file and paste it there so that you can turn in your lab. Next, I'm interested in the summary statistics, but split by gender, because I want to see if there's a difference between males and females. So if I go to Stat, Summary Stat, Columns again, and I'm going to select age, but this time I'm going to group by. And I'm going to group by gender so that I can split up males and females in my data set. So, and it's fine to leave the default statistics here. Click Compute, and now you'll see that we have all of the summary statistics for the group of females and for the group of males. Again, you'll want to click Options, Copy, and follow the instructions to copy this into your lab document. The last thing we're going to do in this lab is to create displays of data. And so here we'll be using the Graph menu. So we want to make a bar plot of whether people found college to be worth it. So you'll hit Graph, Bar Plot with Data, and we're going to select the column Worth It, because that's what we want to see if people felt like college was worth it. You don't need to change anything else right here. If you want to label, it's always a good idea, but for today, I'm not going to require you to do the labels. We'll spend more time with that in the next few chapters. So for right now, we can just leave it. We're just practicing going through these menus. Click Compute, and here we see a bar plot with the frequency of students who said no, unsure, and yes. Before we go to the next step, let's make sure that we copy this and paste it into our document. So click Options, Copy, and usually on the graphs, it'll show up a second screen and it will tell you the tip of how to copy it. For Apple products, it'll be the Command V. For PCs, I believe it's Control V, and that will copy it to your clipboard and then you can paste it into your document. So now let's close this and close this. I want to make a bar plot split by gender. So I'm going to go to Graph, Bar Plot with Data again, and we'll select Worth It, but we're going to group by gender. You don't have to change anything else here. Click Compute, and now we'll see that females are in blue, males are in red, and we can look to see if there's a difference between the two groups. Now, one of the challenges with this particular bar plot that we'll be talking about in later chapters is that we're looking at counts right now. And when you're looking at counts, the sheer fact that there were more females in this data set is going to skew the way that this graph looks. So you always can look at, instead of frequency, you can do % and hit Compute. And then it's going to give you the % of the group, which can provide a little bit better of a comparative bar plot. The last part of this lab is to actually start from scratch and type in our own data set. So if you're already in StatCrunch, you can just click on StatCrunch and go down to New Data Table. If you've just logged into StatCrunch, when you open StatCrunch, it'll open to a blank worksheet. So I've given you a few results for different students that I want you to type in. And if you click on Variable up at the top, you can actually label these variables. So this first one is student number, if I could spell. You can hit Tab to get to the next one. You can click the arrow over, or you can just click into the next one. But we're going to type in Test 1, Test 2, and Test 3. Now the student numbers here, when I type in 001, I want you to see what happens. It will just end up being a 1. Now I actually want my student number to have that 001 because my student numbers are 3 digits. Anytime you have something like that happening, you can always put an underscore in front, which is the shift and the dash that's over there next to the 0. And if you do that, then you'll notice that my entire 3 digits will show up. This only happens when you have leading zeros in a number. All right, so I've got my student numbers. I'm going to type in. Now, sometimes you can copy and paste from a table into StatCrunch, but it doesn't always behave well, so sometimes you will have to type it all in. If you're going to be typing in a data set, usually it will be a small one. Anytime that you have a larger data set, I have usually provided that for you. It comes with the textbooks, and I can just post that file for you. But the smaller data sets, you might have to type in yourself. And so all I want you to do here is to take a screenshot so that I see that you've actually typed this in. So depending on the computer you're using, if you're using a PC, you can use the snipping tool. If you are using a Mac, you can hit Command-Shift-5, and that's going to pull up your little screenshot, and you can resize it however you'd like. So you really only need that little part, and I can click Capture, and then it saves it to my clipboard. So that's all you need to do for this particular lab. Make sure that you have saved all of those images. Throughout this course, we'll be learning different ways to analyze data using StatCrunch. Throughout this course, we'll be doing different labs where we'll be working with data in StatCrunch. And all of that together will help provide you with the skills that you need for your final project.